All right, so are we ready to jump into this? This question, I feel like it's everywhere these days. Is AI about to make human inventors, well, obsolete? Like, are we done?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question that's gone from, kind of that sci-fi realm to a real debate.
Yeah,
And all these breakthroughs happening now are really, adding fuel to the fire.
right, exactly. So we've got this excerpt from a 2025 essay. It's called, Is AI Humanity's Last Invention? Catchy title, right? And that's what's guiding our deep dive today. And look, I know AI is like the hot topic everywhere you look these days, but we're gonna go deeper. Beyond just the headlines, really explore all the sides of this, what it could mean for, for everyone.
Yeah, I think this essay does a really good job of laying it all out there. The advancements, the hopes, the worries, all of it, from people who are really on the front lines of this stuff.
Totally. Okay, so let's start with, what's got everyone buzzing, the breakthroughs, the stuff that's making this whole last invention idea feel, well, kind of real. This OpenAI's O3 model, this one really stood out to me.
Yeah, O3, but this is a big one, a real shakeup. They got like an 87.5% score on the ARC-AGI benchmark.
Whoa, 87.5%. Okay, but I got to be honest, it sounds like a whole lot of jargon to me.
Fair enough, fair enough. So basically this benchmark, it's like a test, right? It's to see how close AI is getting to like real artificial general intelligence, AGI. Think of it like AGI, that's when AI can learn and problem solve just like humans do
Yeah.
across any field, anything.
Okay, so that score then, that 87.5%, that's why everyone's saying AGI is closer than like we ever thought. But what is it about this O3 model that's so different? I mean, haven't we had AI models before?
We have, yeah. But the old models, they were mostly about crunching tons of data,
Yeah.
looking for patterns that, we programmed into them. But O3 uses something called reinforcement learning. It's more like how we learn, right? Trial and error, getting feedback, adapting. So O3 isn't just getting smarter, it's getting better at learning how to learn.
Whoa, that's kind of freaky, right? Learning how to learn better. That's a whole other level. But okay, here's what I found interesting. It's not just OpenAI making these huge leaps, right? The essay talks about this company, DeepSeek, a Chinese startup. And they're getting similar results, but on a way smaller budget.
DeepSeek, yeah. They're like the underdog's story here. It's amazing what they're doing. They're getting these incredible results. But with older tech, less expensive stuff, they've
Yeah.
shown that you don't need like billions of dollars to be a major player in this AI game.
So it's not just the playground of these giant tech companies anymore. Could this mean like wider access to AI? Could that actually speed up the whole AGI thing? What do you think?
It's definitely possible, yeah. I mean, opening up AI like that, it could lead to this explosion of new ideas and stuff. But of course, it brings up the question of control, right? And who's using it and what are they using it for?
Yes, Google. Their Willow project, it's not about creating a specific AI, it's about the foundation, building the base for even more powerful AI. And they're doing it through hardware.
Right. It's like OpenAI and DeepSeek, they're building the brains. And Google, they're focused on the muscle, the computing power to push AI even further. Willow, it's about making AI more efficient, specialized chips, algorithms. It's like giving these, advanced AI models a superhighway to speed up all their learning and processing.
So is this hardware race like as important as the race to build the actual AI?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It adds a whole other layer of complexity to this whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to remember, right? AI isn't just about hitting some theoretical level of intelligence. It's already having a huge impact on our lives right now.
Absolutely. The essay talks about how AI is already changing things like healthcare and education. I was really struck by this one example, AI being used to detect diseases,
Yeah.
like super early on.
That's incredible, right? It's about AI spotting things that human doctors might miss. Earlier intervention, potentially saving lives.
It's really amazing to think about what AI could do to improve our, our health, our well-being. But of course, all this progress, all this potential, it comes with some pretty big questions about, well, where are we headed with all this?
Oh, for sure. All this progress, it's sparking a lot of debate. So I think maybe let's shift gears here. Let's hear from the people who are, at the forefront of this AI revolution. What are they saying about all this? This essay gives us a really good overview of all the different viewpoints out there.
It feels like everyone's got an opinion on AI, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting, you can kind of see how all these viewpoints group together. On the one side, we've got the optimists, the folks like Sam Altman. He's the CEO of OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
And Demis Hassabis over at DeepMind. And of course, you can never leave out Ray Kurzweil.
Right. It is interesting how they kind of cluster together, and these are some of the biggest names in AI. And what they share is this belief that AI can actually solve some of humanity's toughest problems.
Yeah.
Disease, poverty, even climate change.
Yeah. That's a pretty hopeful outlook. They see AGI not as the enemy, but as like this tool, right, to help us overcome some of these huge challenges. But do they all agree on like how we get there?
Oh, they definitely have their own spins on the whole path to AGI. I mean, Altman, for example, he said he thinks we're just a few years away from AGI
Mm.
and that it'll actually enhance what humans can do, not replace us. It's about like working with AI, not against it.
Yeah, I like that. AI as a collaborator. But then you've got people like Bill Gates and Yoshua Bengio, and they're a little more cautious, right? They still see the potential, but they're not shying away from the risks either.
Yeah, they're more in the like cautious optimism camp. They stress that we need careful and ethical development. Gates, for instance, he worries about AI being used for things like, surveillance, autonomous weapons.
Yeah, those are some scary possibilities for sure. AI in the wrong hands could be a real disaster.
Absolutely. And Bengio, he really emphasizes international cooperation
Yeah.
to prevent like an AI arms race
Yeah.
and to make sure that development is guided by, ethical principles.
Makes sense. This isn't something any one country can handle on its own. But then there's this other group, the ones who are really ringing the alarm bells, right? They see AI as a potential existential threat. Elon Musk, he's always good for a headline. He compared creating AGI to summoning the demon. I mean, come on, right?
Well, Musk definitely knows how to grab attention. He's warned that if we don't like really prioritize safety measures now, we could lose control of these superintelligent systems, maybe even as early as like 2029. It's a pretty serious timeline.
So he's talking about that superintelligence scenario we discussed, where AI becomes so advanced that it's, beyond our control, maybe even sees us as a threat. Do other experts share that same level of concern?
There are definitely others who see that as a real possibility. Nick Bostrom, he focuses on what he calls the control problem. He argues that even if we program AI with, good intentions, its goals might evolve in ways that we just can't anticipate, leading to unintended, potentially catastrophic consequences.
I see what he's saying. Like a super intelligent AI might come up with solutions that seem logical to it, but end up being harmful to us. It's not necessarily about like malicious intent, right? But more like this massive difference in understanding and goals. Of all the voices in this whole debate, though, the one that really gets me is Geoffrey Hinton.
Yeah, Hinton. He's considered the godfather of AI, right? And he actually recently retired from Google, specifically so he could speak more freely about the risks of AI.
Wow. So he left one of the biggest tech companies in the world just so he could speak his mind about AI. That's a powerful statement. What are his biggest concerns?
He believes there's a real chance, maybe like 10 to 20%, that AI could actually lead to human extinction. And within like a few decades. That's a pretty chilling prediction coming from someone who, helped create modern AI.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. If someone like Hinton, who really knows this stuff inside and out, if he's that worried, shouldn't we all be paying attention?
It's a perspective we can't ignore, for sure. But, to be fair, not everyone in the AI community is predicting like an AI apocalypse, There are some who think that fear of a superintelligent AI takeover is overblown.
Okay, so we've gone from AI solving all our problems to AI possibly wiping us out. It's a pretty wild range of possibilities, What are like the key themes that emerge from all these different viewpoints?
Well, one central theme is that existential risk, right, that we've been talking about, the fear that we could lose control of AI as it becomes super intelligent. It's a concern that even some of the most optimistic voices, they acknowledge we need to take it seriously.
That's the big one for sure. But even if we manage to avoid like a robot uprising, there are still a lot of other challenges to think about.
Oh, absolutely. Another big one is the impact of AI on, society and the workforce. As AI gets more advanced, it's going to change how we work, and it's likely going to displace a lot of jobs.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people are worried about. What happens to those workers whose jobs are, automated? How do we make sure everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few?
Right. Those are some big questions we need to be figuring out now. This isn't just a tech challenge. It's a societal one. We need to be thinking about how to prepare our workforce for these changes, how to make sure the benefits of AI are shared fairly, and how to make sure it doesn't, make existing inequalities even worse.
So education, retraining, making sure the benefits are shared fairly, these are all crucial. But what about the bigger picture? Is there any way to, manage the development of AI on a global scale?
There seems to be this growing consensus among experts that, international cooperation is key. This isn't something any one country can tackle on its own.
So what would that even look like? Are we talking about global regulations for AI?
It could involve things like establishing international safety protocols for development, preventing an arms race with autonomous weapons, making sure the benefits of AI are shared equally among all countries.
It sounds like we need a whole new rule book for this AI age. But even with the best intentions and global cooperation, it still feels like we're stepping into, uncharted territory.
We definitely are. And that brings us to those three potential future scenarios that the essay lays out. We've touched on superintelligence, but there's also the possibility of a technological singularity.
Now, that one's really hard to grasp. Can you remind me what that means?
Right, so the technological singularity, it's this hypothetical point in time when technological advancement is happening so fast that it basically becomes uncontrollable. It fundamentally changes human civilization. It's like a point of no return, and it's impossible to say what the outcome would be.
So it's not just AI becoming super intelligent. It's like all technology just exploding forward at this insane rate, leading to changes we can't even, imagine right now.
Exactly. And the third scenario is that democratization of AI we were talking about.
With DeepSeek, right.
Right. That idea that innovations like what DeepSeek is doing could make developing powerful AI easier and less expensive. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities, but it's also kind of scary, right?
Definitely. More access to these powerful tools, it means we need even more responsibility and safeguards to prevent misuse.
Okay, so we have these three very different paths. Superintelligence, a technological singularity, the democratization of AI. It's a lot to process. What are we supposed to take away from all this? I think the key takeaway is that we're not just watching this happen. Our choices today, they're going to determine which path we end up on.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Groundbreaking AI, what the experts are saying, the hopes, the fears. It's clear AI is changing everything and fast. But I want to go back to that question we started with. Is AI humanity's last invention? Is that it for us?
It's the question, right? Everyone's asking and making predictions. What I find so interesting is there's no easy answer. It's not just yes or no.
Yeah.
Reading this essay, it really hit me. The future of AI, it's not preordained,
Yeah.
It's something we're all creating together right now.
So it's not, will it be our last invention, but could it be? And that depends on us, on the choices we're making.
Exactly. The choices we're making right now about AI research, development, the rules, the ethics, all of it. It's going to shape where this technology goes and how it impacts, humanity, all of us.
I gotta be honest, it's a little overwhelming, right? We've talked about superintelligence, the singularity, the possibility of amazing progress, but also serious risks. Where do we even start to wrap our heads around this, let alone do something about it?
I get it. It can feel like we're just along for the ride, especially with something as complex and fast-moving as AI. But we have more power than we think.
Yeah.
This isn't just about, governments and tech companies. It's about everyone.
Okay, so what can, the average person listening to this, what can they actually do? What role do we have in all this?
A lot, actually. First, we have to stay informed. Keep learning about AI, what it can do, how it might impact us. Talk about it with friends, family, colleagues. The more we understand, the better choices we can make.
So no burying our heads in the sand.
Nope, definitely not. We also need to tell our leaders that ethical AI, responsible development, that's a priority. We have to support policies that are transparent, accountable, that put safety first when it comes to AI systems.
It's about making our voices heard and holding those in power accountable, right?
Exactly. And we can support the organizations that are out there doing the work.
Yeah.
The ones pushing for AI to be used for good. The ones researching AI safety, fighting for fair access to the benefits of this technology.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even with something as big and world-changing as AI, we still have a say. Our choices matter.
They absolutely do. And remember, the future of AI, it's not set. We're all writing it together.
Well said, because things just got a whole lot crazier. We're going deep into the AI arms race today.
Sounds intense.
It is, specifically between the US and China. And it's not just about algorithms anymore.
Right.
This is about global power. Who controls the economy, who shapes the future, the big stuff.
It's really fascinating how central AI has become to everything, even cultural influence.
Exactly. And recently, two things have happened that have totally shaken things up. First, you got DeepSeek.
Oh, yeah, DeepSeek.
A Chinese AI startup that's basically come out of nowhere to challenge all the giant U.S. tech companies.
Yeah, what's crazy about DeepSeek is they basically made a model that can compete with stuff from Google.
Really?
Yeah, but with way fewer resources. They're using older chips and this technique called...
mixture of experts.
Yeah, mixture of experts.
Right.
And to put it simply, they're basically combining a bunch of different AI models, each one specialized in a specific task.
Oh, so it's like a team of AI specialists working together.
Exactly. To solve these really complex problems.
That's so clever. But what does that mean for companies like NVIDIA, the ones making those crazy advanced chips?
Well, DeepSeek's success sent shockwaves through Wall Street.
Yeah.
NVIDIA stock took a hit
Oh, wow.
because suddenly the U.S. wasn't the only one in the game anymore.
Yeah.
It really raises the question, is the balance of power in AI shifting?
Okay, that's one bombshell. But then you've got OpenAI releasing their O3 model, and now everyone's talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence. Remind us what AGI actually is.
So AGI is basically AI that can learn and solve problems as well as a human.
Okay.
Or even better, think of it as AI that can reason and adapt and understand just like we do.
Wow.
And this O3 model is scoring insanely high on this thing called the ARC-AGI benchmark,
What is that? Like an IQ test for AI?
basically. And it's hit 87.5%, which is a huge jump from anything we've seen before.
That's a massive leap. I mean, imagine an AI that can actually learn and solve problems just like us. What kind of possibilities does that even open up?
So many possibilities.
But also, does it worry you at all?
Honestly, it's both exciting and a bit daunting. O3's performance is getting us closer to AGI becoming a reality,
Right.
which has incredible potential, but also a lot of unknowns and risks we need to think about.
Okay, let's talk about those risks. What happens if AI gets smarter than us? Are we talking robot uprising like in the movies?
Well, not necessarily robots taking over, but we do need to be aware of what we call existential risks.
Okay, what's that?
The idea that a superintelligent AI, something way smarter than any human, could become uncontrollable
Oh.
and pose a threat to humanity's existence.
Okay, I see why that would be a concern. But is that something we need to be worried about right now? What are the more like immediate concerns?
Well, one big one is unpredictability. As AI systems get more complex, it's harder to predict how they'll behave.
Right.
I mean, even with all our scientific models, we can't predict the weather perfectly, right? Now imagine trying to predict an AI that's potentially smarter than us.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there's the whole societal impact. People are already worried about AI taking jobs.
And those are valid concerns. The rise of AGI could definitely lead to job displacement if we don't adapt, and that could make existing inequalities even worse, potentially even lead to social unrest. It's something we really need to prepare for.
And then there's the whole singularity thing. It sounds kind of scary. What does that even mean?
The singularity is this concept that describes a point where technological growth becomes so rapid
Okay.
and uncontrollable that it just fundamentally changes human civilization as we know it. And some believe this will be driven by the emergence of superintelligent AI.
So like a technological black hole that just sucks everything in and changes everything.
That's a pretty dramatic analogy, but yeah, it captures the essence of the idea. The singularity is basically a point of such profound change
Okay.
that it's impossible to predict what comes after.
Wow, so many questions. Like, how do we even prepare for something like that? And what can we do right now to shape this future while we still can?
Those are the critical questions.
Yeah.
And it's not about passively waiting for the singularity to happen. There are things we can and should be doing right now to make sure AI develops in a way that actually benefits humanity.
Okay, so let's talk solutions. What are the concrete steps we can take? It all feels so massive and complex. What can one person even do?
It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But remember, this isn't just about individual action. It's about a collective effort. We need leaders, policymakers, researchers, and everyday people like you to be part of the conversation and push for responsible AI development.
All right, I'm ready to be part of the conversation. Where do we even begin?
One of the most crucial steps is to establish clear ethical guidelines for AI research and development.
Okay.
These aren't just rules for robots, though.
Right.
They're guidelines for the people creating and using AI.
So like a code of conduct for AI developers.
Exactly. These guidelines would promote transparency and accountability and ensure AI development is aligned with human values. We don't want AI to become a tool for harm or oppression.
That makes sense. So ethical guidelines are crucial. What else can we do?
International cooperation is also absolutely key. We need countries to work together, not against each other, to address the global challenges AI poses. Think about things like treaties to regulate the military use of AI, or to make sure research is done responsibly and collaboratively.
So like a United Nations for AI.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
We need global frameworks for collaboration and oversight to make sure AI benefits all of humanity.
Okay, ethical guidelines and global cooperation. Got it. What else should we be focusing on?
Investing in safety research is also vital.
Yep.
We need to fund research that focuses on developing really robust safety mechanisms for AI.
So making sure AI doesn't go rogue, basically.
Exactly. We need safeguards in place to prevent unintended consequences and ensure that ultimately AI stays under human control.
Right. I can see why that's critical. And public awareness is important too, right? Getting everyone involved in these conversations.
Absolutely. We need to educate the public about the implications of AI. The more people understand both its potential and its risks, the better equipped we'll be as a society to make good decisions and demand responsible development.
Okay, I'm taking notes. Education, collaboration, safety research. What about preparing for the unexpected? What if things go wrong even with all these safeguards?
That's where scenario planning comes in.
Okay.
We need to engage in thought experiments and simulations to anticipate potential risks and come up with strategies to mitigate them.
So like running fire drills, but for AI.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
We need to be prepared for all sorts of possibilities, both positive and negative.
Okay, so we've got ethical guidelines, international cooperation, safety research, public awareness, and scenario planning. That's quite a to-do list.
It is, but it's important to remember that this isn't just about checking boxes.
Right.
This is about shaping the future of one of the most powerful technologies humanity has ever encountered.
You're right, it's a big responsibility. But you've laid out a really clear path forward. I'm feeling a bit more empowered now, to be honest.
That's great to hear. Remember, even small actions can contribute to positive change.
Okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's go back to the current state of the AI arms race. What is the U.S. doing in response to China's progress, especially with DeepSeek shaking things up?
One of their key strategies is export controls, which basically limit China's access to advanced semiconductor technology, the kind needed for training large AI models.
So they're trying to make it harder for China to develop even more powerful AI by restricting access to those top-tier chips. Do you think that will be effective in the long run?
That's a tough question. Yeah. While export controls can create challenges, they can also have unintended consequences. For example, it's actually pushed China to become more self-sufficient in AI technology. They're investing heavily in domestic chip production and researching alternative computing architectures. So they rely less on Western technology.
Interesting. So the U.S. trying to hold back China's AI development might actually be backfiring and pushing them to become even more innovative.
It's definitely a possibility. Necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. The restrictions have forced Chinese companies like DeepSeek to be incredibly resourceful, finding creative ways to work around limitations and achieve impressive results.
Wow, this AI arms race is becoming even more complicated than I imagined. What does all of this mean for the future? Where do we go from here?
Well, it's clear that the AI landscape is becoming increasingly multipolar. Power and influence in AI are no longer concentrated in just one or two countries.
Multipolar. What does that mean in this context?
It means that we're seeing new centers of AI innovation emerge, like China, but also significant contributions from other nations. The future of AI is likely to be shaped by a complex interplay of many different actors, each with their own interests and capabilities.
So it's not just a U.S.-China story anymore. That adds a whole new layer of complexity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this multipolarity also creates opportunities for collaboration and knowledge sharing, which could ultimately lead to more responsible and beneficial AI development.
Okay, that's a more hopeful way to look at it. So what should we be watching for in this evolving AI landscape? What are the key trends to keep an eye on?
One area to watch closely is the development of new computing architectures.
Computing architectures. What are those and why are they important?
Think of computing architectures as the fundamental building blocks of how computers process information. The current export controls focus on specific chips. But what if China develops entirely new ways of building and training AI models?
That's a good point. It's like trying to ban cars by restricting access to gasoline, but then someone invents electric cars.
Exactly. We need to think beyond the current technological paradigms and anticipate how the field might evolve.
So new computing architectures, got it. What else should we be paying attention to?
Another important trend is the increasing focus on AI safety and ethics. As AI becomes more powerful and pervasive, ensuring responsible development and use becomes absolutely crucial.
We talked about ethical guidelines earlier, but it seems like AI is developing so rapidly. Can ethical considerations really keep pace with this rapid innovation?
That's the challenge, isn't it? It's like trying to build a plane while you're flying it. We need to find ways to integrate ethical thinking into the very core of AI development, not just as an afterthought.
Right, because once that AI plane is in the air, it's pretty hard to change course.
Exactly. We need to be thinking about safety and ethics from the ground up.
Okay, so new computing architectures and a stronger focus on ethics and safety. What else is on the horizon in the world of AI?
Another fascinating trend is the increasing accessibility of AI tools and technologies.
What do you mean by that? Is AI becoming something anyone can use?
In a way, yes. It used to be that developing AI required massive resources and expertise, but that's changing rapidly. We're seeing more open-source AI platforms, cloud-based tools, and even user-friendly AI development kits.
So AI is being democratized. What are the implications of that?
It's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, greater accessibility can lead to more innovation and a wider range of perspectives. More people, from researchers and startups to hobbyists and students, can experiment with and contribute to AI development.
That sounds exciting. But is there a downside to this increased access?
The potential downside is that powerful AI tools could also fall into the wrong hands. That's why it's even more important to have those ethical guidelines and safety mechanisms we discussed earlier in place.
This is all so fascinating. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this topic. What else do you think is important for our listener to understand about the AI arms race?
One thing I'd emphasize is that this isn't just a competition between countries. It's also a competition between different visions of the future.
Okay, what do you mean by different visions of the future? Could you elaborate on that?
Think about the potential implications of AI. It has the power to reshape everything from healthcare and education to transportation and warfare. Different countries, companies, and even individuals might have vastly different ideas about how AI should be used and what role it should play in society.
So it's not just about who has the most powerful AI, but also about what they plan to do with it and what kind of future they're trying to build.
Exactly. The values, ethics, and goals of those who control AI will have a profound impact on the world we create.
That's a really thought-provoking point. So as we move forward into this uncertain future, what are the key questions we should be asking ourselves about AI?
I think one of the most important questions is, what does it mean to be human in an age of intelligent machines?
Whoa, that's a deep one. Okay, we're going to need some time to ponder that. We'll be right back after a quick break to explore that question and delve into some even more mind-blowing concepts. Stay with us.
So before the break, we were getting into some pretty deep questions about, the future of AI and what it all means for humanity.
Yeah, it got pretty intense there for a minute.
But, it's important to remember that there's a whole other side to this, too. Amidst all the concerns about risks and downsides, AI could also bring a lot of good.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in all the what if AI goes wrong scenarios.
Yeah.
But how is it already being used to solve real-world problems?
Oh, so many ways.
Like, what are some concrete examples where AI is making a positive impact?
Well, one area where we're seeing incredible progress is healthcare.
Okay.
AI is being used to diagnose diseases much earlier and more accurately than ever before.
Oh, really?
For example, there are AI algorithms that can detect cancer cells in medical images, sometimes even better than human radiologists.
Wow. So AI is basically becoming like a super-powered medical detective.
It's not about replacing doctors, though.
Right.
It's about giving them more powerful tools to do their jobs even better. And it goes way beyond just diagnosis, too.
Oh, yeah.
AI is also being used to develop personalized treatments, tailoring therapies to each patient's individual needs and genetic makeup.
So it's like a treatment plan that's custom designed just for you.
Exactly. We're moving towards this era of precision medicine where treatments are highly customized and much more effective.
Wow. No more one-size-fits-all medicine then.
Exactly. And the possibilities go even further. AI is being used to accelerate drug discovery, which could lead to cures for diseases that we haven't been able to crack for decades.
That's incredible. Okay, so AI is transforming healthcare in some amazing ways. You mentioned earlier that it could also revolutionize education. How so?
Imagine a world where every student gets a totally personalized learning experience, tailored to their unique needs and pace.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
AI tutors could provide that customized instruction, pinpoint areas where students are struggling, and offer support exactly where it's needed.
So no more struggling to keep up in class or getting bored because things are moving too slowly.
Exactly. And for teachers, AI could handle a lot of those tedious administrative tasks,
Oh, that would be amazing.
freeing them up to focus on what they do best, mentoring and inspiring their students.
It sounds like AI could really benefit both students and teachers then. What about the environment? Can AI help us tackle something as big and complex as climate change?
Absolutely. AI has enormous potential in this area.
Really?
For instance, AI algorithms can analyze satellite images to track deforestation in real time,
Wow.
helping us protect vital forests and combat climate change.
That's impressive. What other ways can AI be applied to environmental issues?
AI can optimize energy grids, making them much more efficient and reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. It's also playing a crucial role in developing new clean energy technologies,
Yeah.
like more efficient solar panels and wind turbines.
Okay, so AI isn't just a force for potential destruction.
Right.
It can also be a powerful tool for good. Hearing about all these applications is making me feel a lot more optimistic.
That's what I wanted to highlight. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's a story we're writing together, and we have the power to make choices that steer AI towards benefiting humanity.
Well said. Okay, now I'm ready to dive back into the realm of the unknown.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the possibility of merging human consciousness with AI. What does that even mean?
All right, so this is where things get really mind-bending,
Okay.
blurring the lines between science fiction and potential reality. Some futurists and researchers actually believe that one day we might be able to upload our consciousness into computers,
Wait, really?
essentially achieving digital immortality.
Hold on, digital immortality. You mean living forever as a computer program?
That's the idea often called mind uploading or whole brain emulation. It's still theoretical, of course, but some scientists believe that with advances in neuroscience and computing power, it might actually become possible.
I'm getting serious Matrix vibes here.
I-
Is this something to be excited about or terrified of?
Honestly, it's both exhilarating and a little frightening. The idea of transcending our biological limits and living forever in a digital world raises some profound questions about what it means to be human. The nature of consciousness, even the essence of identity.
Okay, my brain is definitely doing some gymnastics right now trying to wrap my head around all this.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
But let's try to break it down. How would mind uploading even work in theory?
So the basic idea is to create this super detailed map of the human brain, capturing every single connection and the complex patterns of neural activity. Then all that information would be transferred into a powerful computer system
Okay.
that's capable of simulating the brain's functions.
So you'd basically be creating a digital copy of your brain, like a backup, but for your entire mind.
That's the idea. And if that digital copy is accurate enough, it could theoretically think, feel, and experience the world just like the original brain.
But would it really be you? Or just a really sophisticated imitation? That's a pretty big difference.
That's the million-dollar question. The big philosophical debate at the heart of mind uploading. Some believe that consciousness is just an emergent property of the brain's physical structure.
Okay.
So if you replicate that structure perfectly, you'd also be replicating consciousness.
So like if you build it, they will come. Consciousness would just automatically emerge in the digital copy.
That's the hope for people who believe in mind uploading. But others argue that consciousness is more than just neurons firing. They think it's tied to our bodies, our experiences, our interaction with the physical world.
Okay.
To them, a digital copy, no matter how precise, could never truly be the same as the original.
Wow, this is getting really deep. So if I were to upload my mind, would that digital version be me or just a copycat? And what happens to the original me in that scenario?
Those are the questions, right? There are no easy answers. These are the kinds of profound questions we need to be asking ourselves as we enter this uncharted territory of AI and its potential to completely reshape what it means to be human.
This is all so mind-blowing. I'm starting to understand why some people think AI is the most important invention in human history.
It's definitely one of the most transformative technologies we've ever encountered, whether we view it with hope or fear. One thing is certain: AI is going to change the world as we know it.
Okay, I need a moment to process all of this. This deep dive has been quite the journey. We've gone from the AI arms race to the possibility of merging human consciousness with machines.
It has been a wild ride. We've only scratched the surface, but hopefully we've given our listener plenty to think about.
Oh, I think we've definitely done that. Now for the final part of our deep dive, we're going to shift gears a bit and explore the broader implications of all this. What does the future hold for humanity in an age of increasingly powerful and intelligent machines? Stay with us for the thrilling conclusion. All right, welcome back. I don't know about you, but my brain is still buzzing after that last segment.
Yeah, we went pretty deep there.
We covered so much ground already, the AI arms race, mind uploading. It's been a wild ride.
It really has. But now it's time to shift gears a bit and think about what this all means for the future.
Yep.
You know, what's next?
Okay, let's put on our futurist hats. What are some of the scenarios we might see play out as AI gets even more advanced?
Well, one scenario is that AI becomes deeply integrated into almost every aspect of our lives. You know, our homes, workplaces, cities, infrastructure, everything.
So like the smart home concept, but on a massive societal scale?
Exactly. Imagine a world where AI is managing traffic flow,
Yeah.
optimizing energy consumption, providing personalized education, even helping with healthcare diagnoses and treatments. AI could become the invisible hand orchestrating so many of the systems we rely on.
That sounds incredibly convenient, but also a bit unnerving. All that data being collected and analyzed. Does that raise any concerns about privacy or potential misuse?
Well, absolutely. As AI becomes more widespread, we have to be incredibly careful about privacy, security, and the potential for things to go wrong. Strong ethical guidelines and regulations are going to be crucial to make sure AI is used responsibly and benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to end up in some dystopian sci-fi movie where AI is controlling everything and we lose our
Hmm.
freedoms. What are some other potential scenarios?
Another possibility is that AI could usher in this period of huge economic growth and prosperity.
Really?
Yeah, AI has the potential to automate a lot of the tasks that humans do now,
Right.
which could really boost productivity and efficiency across industries.
But what about all the jobs that would be lost? Would we end up with mass unemployment?
That's a critical question for sure. We can't just ignore that potential downside. We need to be proactive in preparing for those societal shifts. However, a lot of economists actually believe that while AI will automate some jobs, it will also create entirely new jobs in industries that we can't even imagine right now.
So it's not just about AI replacing us, it's also about AI opening up new possibilities.
Exactly. Think about the Industrial Revolution. It completely changed how we lived and worked, led to new industries, new types of jobs, and ultimately a higher standard of living for a lot of people. The AI revolution could be similar, requiring us to adapt and learn new skills, but also opening up incredible opportunities.
Okay, so we've got economic growth as one potential outcome. What other exciting possibilities might AI unlock?
Another big one is scientific discovery and technological innovation. AI could help us make breakthroughs in medicine, energy, space exploration, so many fields.
So AI could help us cure diseases, solve the energy crisis, even colonize Mars.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. AI can analyze huge amounts of data, identify patterns, and come up with hypotheses much faster than humans can. It could lead to breakthroughs that would have taken us decades or even centuries to achieve on our own.
I'm starting to feel really optimistic about the future. It sounds like AI could usher in a whole new era of human progress. But even with all these potential benefits, we still need to be cautious, right?
Of course, we can't forget that AI is a tool. It can be
Mm.
used for good or for bad. The impact ultimately depends on the choices we make as a society.
So the future isn't set in stone. It's up to us to guide AI's development in the right direction.
Exactly. It's about the values, the ethics, the goals we prioritize as we build and use these technologies.
Okay, that all makes sense. But how is this going to affect the average person's life? What are some concrete changes we might actually see?
For one thing, AI is going to keep personalizing our online experiences. The content we see on social media, the products and services that are recommended to us.
Even more targeted advertising then. Hopefully it'll at least be more helpful than annoying.
It could go either way, of course. But imagine having an AI assistant that really understands your preferences and can help you find the perfect book to read, the best new restaurant, or even the ideal career path.
Actually, that does sound pretty helpful. What other ways might AI impact our day-to-day lives?
Think about education and work. AI could revolutionize those. Imagine personalized AI tutors that adapt to your learning style, or working alongside AI colleagues that can handle all the boring, tedious tasks, giving you more time for creative thinking and strategy.
So AI could help us all become more efficient and productive, giving us more time to focus on the things we actually enjoy.
It's definitely possible,
Mm.
but we have to remember that AI is not a magic solution. It's a tool, and we need to be smart about how we integrate it into our lives and our workplaces to make sure it's helping us, not holding us back.
It's both exciting and a bit overwhelming to think about how much AI could change the world.
It is. It's uncharted territory, and there are a lot of unknowns. But I think it's important to approach it with a sense of curiosity, optimism, and a healthy dose of caution.
So what can we do as individuals and as a society to make sure AI is used for good?
The most important thing is education. We need to understand how AI works, what it can do, what its limits are. Then we can make informed decisions about its development and use.
So knowledge is power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just passively absorb information. We need to think critically about the ethical implications of AI, question the assumptions, challenge biases, and demand transparency.
Okay, education, critical thinking, and healthy skepticism. What else?
We need to advocate for responsible AI development, support policies and regulations that prioritize transparency, accountability, and human oversight.
So regulations that ensure AI is used to benefit everyone, not just a select few.
Exactly. We need to work towards a future where AI is aligned with our shared human values, not just the interests of the people in control.
That makes sense. Are there any other ways we can help shape a positive future for AI?
We need to foster a culture of collaboration and open innovation. The challenges posed by AI are complex, and no one have all the answers. We need to share knowledge work across borders and find solutions that benefit everyone.
So no more AI arms races, instead a global collaborative approach.
That's the goal. The future of AI depends on our ability to work together and create a world where this technology helps us reach our full potential. Okay, so lately, everybody's been hearing all this stuff about AI and like where it's all headed. And honestly, it can be a little unnerving, super intelligent robots taking over, all that. It's not just like a sci-fi thing anymore, right?
Yeah, it's definitely moved beyond the realm of just like pure fantasy.
Totally. So we're going to do a deep dive today. We're going to try to unpack the real concerns about AI, the actual risks, but more importantly, what can we actually, what can we do about them? So we've got this great essay. It's called The Potential Risks of AI, AGI, Superintelligence, and the Path Forward. And it like really jumps headfirst into all those kind of tricky questions.
Yeah, this essay is it's really fascinating how it like just jumps right into the complexities of this whole issue. It doesn't just tell us, what AGI and superintelligence are. It really dives into the nitty-gritty of like the potential dangers of AI getting out of control.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, right? Like he makes the point that like
Mhm.
we humans, we dominate other species because, they've got these superior brains, right? So what happens when AI becomes smarter than us? I mean, are we talking like Terminator scenarios here? Is this essay saying that like a robot uprising is inevitable?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, the essay goes a little deeper into that idea and talks about how a super intelligent AI could maybe prioritize its own goals,
Yep.
over human safety. And it gives this really interesting example. Imagine an AI that's programmed to like optimize traffic flow, right? Sounds pretty beneficial on the surface,
Yeah,
right?
less time stuck in traffic. Who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. But what if this AI decides that the best way to make traffic flow smoothly is to like severely restrict where people can drive or like when they can even leave their homes? I mean, it might achieve its goal, technically, but not in a way that really aligns with what we as humans want.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily like malicious intent we have to worry about, but maybe a lack of alignment, like between AI goals and like what we actually value as humans.
Right, exactly. And the essay argues that a big part of the problem is that, well, we may not even fully understand what goals an AI sets for itself, especially as it becomes more complex.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, how do you even begin to control something that's like potentially way more intelligent than any human?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the essay does dive into some potential solutions. And one idea that it brings up is this concept of emergent properties. Basically, these are like unpredictable behaviors that can arise from really complex AI systems. And it argues that even, what seems like a minor AI decision could end up having like these huge cascading effects, especially as AI systems start to interact and like learn from each other.
Okay, I'm getting a little nervous now. So are we just like at the mercy of these emergent properties? Is the essay basically saying that we just have to like cross our fingers and hope for the best?
Thankfully not. No, the essay is actually, I'd say it's pretty optimistic. It says that we need to focus on creating like really robust ethical guidelines for AI development. That's one of the keys to mitigating these risks.
Ethical guidelines. Okay. That sounds promising. But what does that actually, what does that look like in practice?
Well, for starters, it means building transparency and accountability into AI systems, like right from the get-go, right from the beginning. The essay argues that we need to be able to understand how these systems work, like what data are they trained on, how do they actually make decisions, and we also need to be able to trace back any decisions made by AI, especially if those decisions end up causing, harm.
Transparency and accountability. Okay, those seem like pretty essential, starting points. But I mean, who's actually responsible for setting those guidelines? Is it like individual developers? Is it the tech companies? Or is this something that, governments need to be involved in?
It's a good question. And the essay actually argues that this is like a shared responsibility. We need developers who are really prioritizing ethical considerations in their work. We need companies that are willing to create internal review boards and like guidelines. And yeah, we definitely need governments that are going to implement regulations and, oversight mechanisms. And it also stresses the importance of international cooperation here to make sure that these guidelines are being adopted, well, globally.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, AI is not confined by borders, right? So this feels like a global challenge that requires, a global response.
Right. It's kind of like, think back to the early days of nuclear weapons. Everyone realized that there was this huge potential for like catastrophic consequences. And so they had to kind of figure out how to work together, to create international treaties and agreements, to prevent the worst case scenarios.
Okay, so we're talking about like a similar level of international cooperation when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
That's a big task.
It is. It is. And the essay is very clear about, the potential dangers there. It argues that developing these autonomous weapon systems could actually destabilize, global security and maybe even increase the risk of unintended conflict.
Okay, so this is all getting a little heavy now. We've talked about a lot of potential risks here. Uncontrolled AI, job displacement, surveillance, autonomous weapons. I'm starting to feel like I need a break.
I hear you. It is a lot to take in. But, keep in mind, this essay isn't just about pointing out all the dangers of AI, right? It's
Mm.
also about exploring solutions and kind of empowering individuals, Like, what can you do to take action?
Okay, good. I'm ready for some more optimistic takeaways now.
Well, the essay dives into several concrete actions that we can all take, both individually and collectively, to steer AI development in a more positive direction.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's talk about those solutions.
Yeah.
What does the essay say we can actually, do about all these challenges?
Well, the essay dives into a bunch of different solutions, but one of the big ones, one of the most important ones, is this idea of promoting what it calls value alignment. So basically making sure that as AI systems get, smarter and smarter, that their goals and values kind of stay aligned with ours, even in ways that we might not have like explicitly programmed.
Okay, value alignment. I like the sound of that. But how do we actually make that happen? It's not like we can just, sit down with some super intelligent AI and be like, hey, these are our values. Just, stick to them.
Yeah, the essay is a bit more nuanced than that. It talks about developing some specific techniques to really embed human values into the like core of AI systems,
Yeah.
For example, it mentions something called inverse reinforcement learning. So like instead of just, explicitly programming in goals, we can actually train AI to kind of infer our values just by observing how we behave.
Oh, that's fascinating. So it's kind of like teaching AI to learn what we value by watching how we act,
Yeah.
in different
Yeah,
situations.
exactly. Exactly. It's a bit like how, a kid learns by watching their parents, their role model, stuff like that. And the essay argues that this approach could actually be a lot more robust than simply trying to like, predict and program in every possible scenario.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we humans, we're not always the best at like articulating our values, right?
Yeah.
Like we might say one thing, but do something totally different.
Right, exactly. And the essay it acknowledges that challenge for sure.
Mm.
And it talks about the need for like a lot of collaboration here, like bringing together, different people, ethicists, philosophers, social scientists, AI developers,
Right.
getting them all to work on this problem together.
So it's not just like a technical challenge then, it's like a philosophical, ethical one too, right? Like
Yeah.
we need to actually figure out what our values are before we even try to like teach them to some AI.
Exactly, precisely. And the essay makes a really interesting point here. It says that the process of trying to teach AI our values might actually force us to become more self-aware as a species, as humans,
Yeah.
Like it could help us really clarify what's truly important to us. What kind of society do we actually want to live in?
Wow. That's an unexpected benefit, huh? It's like AI is holding up a mirror to humanity,
Yeah.
forcing us to really look at ourselves and confront our own values, our own beliefs.
Exactly, exactly. And the essay argues that that this kind of like introspection could be incredibly valuable, not just for the future of AI, but for the future of humanity in general.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. We've got these potential risks like AI going off and pursuing its own goals that might totally clash with ours. And then, we've got these potential solutions like this value alignment thing that kind of require us to really grapple with, what does it even mean to be human? What's important to us? But I'm curious, the essay keeps talking about this idea of shared responsibility. So what does that actually mean, for me as an individual? Like,
Yeah.
what can I do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the essay does offer some pretty concrete actions that anyone can take. And I think one of the most important ones is simply staying informed. Like educate yourself about AI, about its potential benefits, but also, about the risks. The more you understand this technology, the better equipped you'll be to actually make informed decisions
Right.
and participate in those conversations about how AI is developed.
Okay, so knowledge is power. Got it.
Yeah.
But what about like beyond just staying informed? Are there any like practical actions that I can take?
Absolutely. The essay really encourages readers to engage in dialogue with other people,
Yeah.
about AI. Talk to your friends, family, your colleagues, even your elected officials. Share what you've learned, and encourage other people to join the conversation. It also suggests, supporting organizations that are working on AI safety and alignment, like the Alignment Research Center, the Future of Life Institute, those kinds of places.
Okay, so talk about it. Support the organizations working on solutions. Got it. I can definitely do that. But is there anything I can do like on a more personal level? Like how I interact with AI in my own life.
That's a great point. And the essay, it touches on that too. It encourages us to be more mindful,
Yeah.
about how we're using AI systems in our daily lives. So for example, think about the algorithms that shape our news feeds, our social media, all that stuff. Are we even aware of like the potential biases that are built into those algorithms?
Yeah, that's something I honestly hadn't really thought about much before. It's easy to forget that those algorithms are often designed to, keep us engaged in clicking and scrolling, not necessarily to show us the most accurate or like balanced information.
Exactly.
Well,
And the essay really encourages us to be, more critical consumers of information, especially in this age of AI. It's about, asking questions, checking sources, and being aware of how these systems can be manipulated,
yeah.
by all kinds of different actors.
Okay, so be informed, be engaged, be critical. That's a good set of guidelines. But what about, the people who are already being impacted by AI, like people whose jobs are being automated?
Right. That's a real concern. And the essay does acknowledge that there probably will be, economic disruptions, right, as AI becomes more and more widespread. And it suggests maybe exploring some policies like a universal basic income,
Yeah.
to kind of provide a safety net for the people whose jobs are, displaced by automation. And it also emphasizes the need for like retraining programs, to help people acquire the new skills they're going to need to thrive in a changing job market.
So it's not just about, adapting individually. It's also about creating like societal structures that can actually support the people who are being most impacted by all these changes.
Right. And the essay argues that this is an area where, governments and policymakers, they really need to be proactive
Yeah.
about anticipating and addressing those challenges.
Yeah, that's a crucial point, I think. We can't just leave it up to, individuals to figure this all out on their own.
Absolutely not. It's going to take a collective effort,
Yeah.
from everyone, individuals, companies, governments, international organizations, the whole nine yards, to really navigate these challenges, but also the opportunities of AI in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of calls for collective action here. But is the essay like actually optimistic
Yeah.
about our ability to, come together and address these issues? I mean, sometimes it feels like, we can't even agree on basic facts these days,
Yeah.
let alone like, complex technological and ethical challenges.
Right. Well, that's a valid concern for sure. And the essay doesn't, it doesn't sugarcoat the difficulties, but it does offer, I think, a glimmer of hope. It points to historical examples of how humans have come together to address some pretty big, pretty seemingly insurmountable challenges, like, eradicating diseases or mitigating, environmental damage.
Okay, so we've faced big challenges before, and sometimes we've even managed to overcome them.
Exactly. And the essay argues that the key is to recognize that we all have, a shared stake in this, in the future of AI. It's about understanding that this isn't just some, technical issue. It's a human issue. It's about our values, our aspirations, the kind of world we want to live in.
Yeah, I like that reframing. It's not just about AI, it's about us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about like who we are as humans
Yeah.
and what kind of future we want to create for ourselves.
Exactly. And the essay argues that by embracing that perspective, by recognizing that shared responsibility, we can really unlock the incredible potential of AI. I mean, it has so much potential to benefit, all of humanity. It's about using this technology to solve some of, the most pressing problems that we face. Climate change, poverty, disease, inequality, you name it.
Okay, now we're talking. That's the kind of future I want to, be a part of creating. But with all these potential risks and challenges, you know, where do we even begin? What's the first step?
Well, the essay offers a couple concrete starting points, and I think one of the most important is investing in research. Research that focuses specifically on AI safety and alignment.
Hmm.
So, developing the techniques that will ensure that these AI systems, they remain aligned with human values, even as they become, increasingly sophisticated.
So it's not just about building, smarter AI. It's about building AI that's actually aligned with our values and our goals. That seems like a pretty crucial distinction. But how do we ensure that happens?
Well, the essay suggests, kind of a multi-pronged approach here, involving collaboration between, researchers, policymakers, and the public. And it emphasizes the need for transparency in AI development, so that we can really understand how these systems work and kind of identify potential risks early on, before they become, really serious problems.
Yeah, transparency, that makes sense. If we're going to, trust AI with making big decisions, then we need to be able to understand how it is making those decisions. But how do we actually, how do we get from here to there,
Yeah.
What are some concrete steps that we can take to really promote transparency in AI development?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people are thinking about right now. Researchers, policymakers all over the world. One approach that's being talked about is developing regulations. That would actually require companies to disclose information about how their AI systems actually work, especially when those systems are being used in those high stakes applications
Mm.
like healthcare or finance or the criminal justice system.
So it's about creating some kind of framework of accountability, right? Where companies are actually held responsible for the decisions that their AI systems make.
Exactly. And it's also about, empowering individuals, right?
Mhm.
Giving them the knowledge and the tools they need to actually understand and evaluate these AI systems. So, this could involve things like developing educational resources that explain how AI works in simple terms, or even creating mechanisms for public feedback,
Right.
getting input from ordinary people on how AI is being developed.
Okay, so it's about fostering this culture of shared responsibility, where everyone has a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Precisely. And the essay really emphasizes that this isn't just about, preventing bad things from happening. It's also about, really harnessing the power of AI to do good,
Right.
to actually benefit society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the vision, right? So let's talk about that, like the potential of AI for good.
Yeah.
What are some ways that this technology could actually be used to benefit humanity?
Well, I mean, the possibilities are pretty vast. AI has the potential to completely revolutionize things like healthcare.
Hmm.
Leading to more accurate diagnoses. Treatments that are personalized for each individual patient. Maybe even cures for diseases that have plagued us for centuries, and it could transform education. Providing these personalized learning experiences that are tailored to each student's needs and abilities.
Wow. Those are some pretty incredible potential benefits.
Yeah.
What about AI's role in tackling these kind of big global challenges,
Yeah.
like climate change or poverty?
Yeah. Yeah. AI could definitely play a key role there too. I mean, it could help us develop, new energy sources that are more efficient and sustainable. It could help us, optimize how we allocate resources,
Hmm.
maybe even, predict and mitigate the effects of climate change. And, it could also be used to help create societies that are more equitable, more just, by identifying and addressing systemic biases in things like criminal justice or housing or employment.
Okay, I'm actually getting pretty excited about this now. It feels like AI really could usher in this whole new era of progress, of prosperity for everyone. But how do we actually make sure that these benefits are shared equitably? How do we prevent AI from just making existing inequalities worse?
Yeah, that's a really crucial question, and one that, we really need to think carefully about. And I think one key factor is making sure that access to AI technology and the benefits that come with it, that access is widely distributed. It's not just concentrated in the hands of a few powerful people or corporations. So that means investing in education and training programs, making sure that people from all backgrounds, they have the skills that they need to thrive in this new AI-driven world.
So it's about like democratizing AI, right?
Yeah.
Both in terms of who's developing it and who actually benefits from it.
Exactly. And it's also about, making sure that these AI systems are being designed and deployed in ways that are fair and equitable. So, that means addressing those potential biases that we talked about earlier, the ones that can creep into algorithms. And it means making sure that these AI-driven decision-making processes that they're transparent and accountable.
Right. Yeah, we need to be, super vigilant about making sure that AI doesn't just end up perpetuating or even, amplifying those social inequalities that already exist.
Absolutely. And it's also important to remember that, at the end of the day, AI is a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. The ultimate responsibility for shaping the future of AI, it lies with us, with the humans who create it and who use it.
That's a really powerful reminder. The future of AI is not like set in stone.
Yeah.
It's not predetermined. It's a future that we are actively shaping through our choices, through our actions.
Exactly. And by embracing this mindset of shared responsibility,
Yeah.
by being informed, by being engaged, by being proactive, we can actually harness the power of AI to create a future that's brighter, that's more equitable for everyone. The essay doesn't shy away from the risks, but it ultimately offers, I think, a message of hope that by working together we can actually steer AI development in a direction that benefits all of humanity.
I love that. I'm feeling, inspired. This deep dive has given me like a whole new perspective on AI. It's clear that there are challenges ahead, but there are also these incredible opportunities. And most importantly, it's really highlighted the power that we have, both as individuals and collectively to shape the future of this really transformative technology.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I think the key takeaway here is that the future of AI is not something that's just happening to us. It's something that we are actively creating. And by embracing that mindset of shared responsibility, we can really use the power of AI to build a world that is more prosperous, that is more just, more humane.
So as AI keeps getting smarter, the real question isn't will it surpass us? It's what kind of future do we want to build with it? And that's something, worth thinking about, worth talking about, and definitely worth taking action on. And, this essay that we've been talking about today, it's a great starting point, but the conversation definitely doesn't end here.
For sure. Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for an AI-powered future that benefits everyone.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.